Guidance to Islam can come to anyone, at any time, and in any place. One such example is party queen Nicole Queen, who was once deeply involved in the glamour of nightlife. Now, with the permission of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, she has embraced Islam by reciting the shahada and becoming a Muslim. Nicole Queen, an American woman known as the party queen, once lived a life of luxury in the dazzling nightlife. As a celebrity photographer, she was accustomed to being in elite social circles, partying in exclusive clubs, and mingling with celebrities and famous personalities. Alcohol, music, and a glamorous lifestyle were part of her daily routine. However, who would have thought that behind all the luxury, her heart felt an inexplicable emptiness? Nicole wasn't just enjoying the nightlife, she was completely immersed in it. As a photographer working in prestigious nightclubs, she witnessed endless partying, hedonism, and a carefree lifestyle. Money was never an issue for her. She had everything: luxurious clothes, access to exclusive places, and a vast social network. However, the deeper she delved into that world, the stronger the emptiness gnawed at her heart. She began to question, is this the purpose of life? Can true happiness really be found in these parties? On one hand, she tried to mask her emptiness with a social life full of temporary pleasures. But on the other hand, she felt that something was missing. She longed to find something more meaningful, something that could fill the void in her soul. One day, fate led her to meet a group of Muslims. At first, she was skeptical of them, given how negatively Islam was portrayed in Western media. However, there was something different about them: their calmness, peace, and the way they treated others with deep respect. As she spoke with them, her curiosity grew, and she began asking questions about Islam. She learned about the concept of submission to one God, the importance of living a meaningful life, and the beauty of Islamic teachings that emphasize compassion and peace. The turning point came when she heard the recitation of the Quran for the first time. Its sound touched her heart so deeply, as if there was an unseen force drawing her in. She felt as though God was speaking directly to her. After returning from that meeting, Nicole couldn't stop thinking about what she had experienced. She began to explore Islam more deeply, reading Islamic books, watching videos about other converts, and even secretly visiting a mosque to observe how Muslims worship. However, this journey was not easy. Fear crept in. What if her friends found out? What if her family rejected her? What if she lost everything she had built? But the more she learned, the more she realized that she had been searching for something that Islam had already provided. She couldn't ignore the call any longer. Finally, with a trembling heart, Nicole Queen recited the 2 shahada statements. Tears streamed down her face. She felt a peace she had never experienced in her entire life. The emptiness that once tormented her heart was now replaced by the light of faith. Nicole's decision to embrace Islam was not the end of her journey, but the beginning of great trials. She lost many friends, and even her family initially opposed her decision. The nightlife that once played a major role in her life had to be left behind. She began dressing more modestly, stopped drinking alcohol, and distanced herself from a lifestyle that contradicted Islamic teachings. However, the hardest test was facing a world that viewed her with suspicion simply because she chose Islam. She often received strange looks on the street, was questioned about why she wore the hijab, and even faced negative comments from people who were once close to her. But she remained steadfast. To her, Islam was the greatest gift in her life, and she would never trade it for anything. Over time, Nicole Queen not only adapted to her new life as a Muslim, but also began sharing her story with the world. She wanted to show that Islam was not a restrictive religion, but one that brought true peace and happiness. She became actively involved in various platforms, sharing her experiences as a convert and helping others who were struggling with the same inner conflicts she once faced. Today, Nicole Queen is no longer the party queen, but a proud Muslim woman who embraces her faith wholeheartedly. Her spiritual journey is proof that guidance can come to anyone, at any time, and in any place, even in the midst of the dazzling yet dark world of nightlife. May her story inspire many who are still searching for the light in their lives. In 2009, Richard McKinney, a former United States Marine Corps USMC member, came to the Islamic Center of Muncie in Muncie, Indiana, with intentions far from good. His decision to attack the mosque was not a sudden one, but the result of years of deep-seated hatred toward Islam. This hatred was born from the bitter experiences he endured while serving in Iraq and Afghanistan, two war zones that led him to see the world in black and white, where the enemy was deemed unworthy of life. When McKinney returned to his hometown, his anger grew, fueled by the presence of an increasingly vibrant Muslim community in the small town. McKinney felt that the presence of Muslims in Muncie was an insult to the sacrifices he had made on the battlefield. To him, they symbolized everything he despised, and in his rage-filled mind, they were a threat that needed to be destroyed. He viewed their presence as a mockery of his struggles, a direct confrontation with the pain he endured after fighting in the war. The more he saw Muslim children attending school with his daughter, the deeper his hatred grew. "I told people that Islam was a cancer, and I was the surgeon to cure it," McKinney admitted. One fateful day, McKinney went to the Islamic Center of Muncie, carrying a bomb he intended to use to kill as many people as possible inside. The USMC tattoos on his body, particularly a skull tattoo on his arm, made it clear he was not there with good intentions. With his head down and his face flushed red with anger, he walked into the mosque, which was crowded with worshipers attending Friday prayers. For McKinney, this was a moment of reckoning, a mission he had long planned. However, what he encountered there was entirely unexpected. Instead of the fear and darkness he had anticipated, McKinney was met with an entirely different response. The people he intended to annihilate ended up saving his life. As he approached the mosque, one of the Muslim community members, Jomo Williams, who was present at the time, sensed something was off. He was walking a bit fast, his head slightly down, and his face was a bit red, Williams recalled. A sense of unease immediately set in. McKinney, approaching the mosque with burning hatred, was unaware that the people inside did not see him as a threat, but as a human being who could be saved. When he finally reached the group, several individuals displayed extraordinary courage by approaching him. They did not back away or flee. Instead, they confronted him in a completely unexpected way, with kindness and bravery. They saw that behind his hatred was a wounded man who needed healing, not destruction. Even more surprising was the action of Mohammed Barami, one of the founders of the Islamic Center of Muncie, who unhesitatingly approached McKinney and embraced him tightly. Barami, an Afghan native, wept as he hugged McKinney, whose confusion was evident. "To this day, it still doesn't make sense to me," McKinney later admitted, reflecting on the moment. He couldn't comprehend how someone who was supposed to be his enemy could be so full of love and forgiveness. To him, Bahrami was an unexpected brother who gave him a new lease on life. Following the incident, McKinney felt torn and bewildered. For years, he had been consumed by hatred toward Muslims. But on that most unexpected day, he discovered something far stronger than his hatred: forgiveness. The decision to return to the mosque and try to understand the religion he had long considered his enemy was not an easy one. Yet slowly but surely, he began to feel something he had never experienced before, a sense of peace and calm that defied words. He returned to the Islamic Center of Muncie, this time with a slightly more open heart. He began reading the Quran, and although he initially felt alienated by its teachings, the deeper he delved, the more he experienced a peace he had never known in his life. Months passed, and McKinney began to change. The fiery hatred that once consumed him gradually faded, replaced by genuine understanding and compassion. Finally, 8 months after his dramatic encounter with the Muslim community in Muncie, McKinney decided to take a significant step. He recited the shahada, declaring himself a Muslim. The moment was deeply emotional, and as he joined the community he once sought to destroy, he was welcomed with open arms and prayers. They did not see McKinney as an enemy, but as a brother who had found his way home, back to the path of truth. McKinney's journey did not end there. Over the next 2 years, he was even elected president of the Islamic Center of Muncie. From someone who once carried a bomb to destroy, he now stood as a leader inspiring others to love and understand one another. He turned his hatred into a force for peace, and he continues to share his life story with the world, showing that no hatred is too great to be transformed by love. McKinney is no longer a stranger at the gates. He has found a community that healed his wounds and gave new meaning to his life. He found brothers and sisters not on the battlefield, but through sincere faith. This dramatic story demonstrates to the world that even in the darkest moments, there is always a light ready to guide someone toward extraordinary change.